I think somebody asked him, like, would you take it personal if he went to Clemson? And I think he was just like, yeah.
I heard you're the trash talker, though. I heard you talk the best trash.
My brothers are probably the only ones I talk trash to. So I probably am the biggest trash talker out of us four. Because, I mean, we would just have talks about, like, who's faster. And everybody saying, like, I'm faster. Like, and it's kind of like, bro, like, you wouldn't beat me. It's been a while since the last time we raced, but genuinely, I think we stopped because the last time I won. You know what I mean?
Is that what? They said, no, we're not doing this no more.
I genuinely think that's wild.
What's good, Commanders? Family, Brian Cooper Jr. here, and this is the Next Man Up podcast, where we talk to your favorite Commanders players, not so much about X's and O's, more about the man behind the helmet. And our next man up is no other than our leader, Kendall Fuller. Kendall, how you doing today, brother?
Pretty good. How you doing? Thank you for having me.
I'm doing real good, of course, man. It's happy to have you, man. You know, we're fresh off the bye week, and I asked you this off camera, and I wish I would have waited, man. How did you spend your bye week, man? Tell us about it.
Yeah, took a little getaway trip to Mexico.
Yeah.
Ended up proposing to my girl, which was amazing, having the whole family down there to celebrate with us and things like that. So it was definitely a good bye week for me.
That's awesome, man. I recently just got engaged as well, so I know how much goes into planning that. How nervous were you during this whole process of planning this? Because it takes some time.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I had a lot of people that was helping me out, a lot of friends that were helping me out and things like that. So the biggest thing is getting the ring.
Yeah.
Once I kind of figured out that I can get the ring in time, I was able to kind of set it up with the help of some friends, but really just holding the surprise because I had all our family come down there. So holding the surprise was mainly the big thing. But executed on that, so it went as good as planned.
Man, I'm happy for you, man. I'm glad she said yes, man. Congratulations, man. I can't wait to see what happens, with the wedding and all that stuff. And like I said, man, we don't talk so much football on this show. We really want to go back to who this person is, right? Who is Kendall Fuller? So let's start from the beginning. Baltimore, Maryland. That's home for you, man. What does Baltimore mean to you?
It means a lot, man. Just everything that, me and my brothers did growing up. We were a sports family, so we grew up all around Baltimore playing sports and things like that. The people that you meet, the connections that you have, it was a blessing for us to be able to, just grow up in that type of culture, that type of environment. It was a blessing, man, and we definitely attribute a lot of that to our dad, who just got us around the right people. There's a lot of coaches that have a hand in us being where we are now, so it was definitely a blessing.
Yeah, man, and you mentioned your three brothers. Three brothers. All four of y'all have played college football.
Yeah.
All four of y'all have been in the NFL. Mm-hmm. I can't imagine growing up in a household like that with three older brothers that are that talented as well. Yeah. Was easy. Was it easy? Was it a little tough?
No, I mean, it was.
Because you're the baby, right? You're the youngest. Yeah.
So for sure. I always tell people the summers were the worst because your parents are gone out the house.
Yep.
Older brothers are kind of getting some get back. As a younger brother, I always knew we had our basement. We would mainly be down there, and if I made it up the steps to Pops, I'm good. He'll get my big brothers off me.
But you had to make it up there.
But I had to make it up them steps, which I did a good amount of times. But in the summers where I ain't had nobody to run to, they definitely got their get back. So it was definitely tough, but it was fun. Just kids being kids.
Yeah, and I read that you're the spoiled one out of all the kids, man. Is that true? Would you say that?
That's what probably Corey would say. All older siblings say the youngest siblings are the most spoiled, but I say the youngest siblings just learn the most because they watch the older siblings mess up, and they just like, all right, I'm gonna just not do what you did.
Yeah.
So, I don't think I'm spoiled. I think I learned. I had a coach that said you either learn the smart way or the wise way. Smart way is learning from your own mistakes. Wise way is learning from somebody else's mistakes. So I tried to learn the wise way.
And clearly these brothers, man, they paved a big way for you, right? You guys kind of all followed the same trajectory, the same path. But as that kid, as a youth, right, before you even made it to college, before you even made it as a high school star, what were you getting from those moments where you had to fight to get upstairs to your dad, where you had to maybe, fight for that first meal or that last piece on the plate? What did those things do for you as a person? Yeah,
I mean, I think really it's just the toughness and just like that competitive nature. It's just you're competing against, for me, my brothers being older than me, and even my dad, he'll always have us play up an age group just to where when we got to our age group, it wasn't something that was it was almost easier for a little bit. But just creating that competitive household, that competitive nature in you, which definitely did a lot for all of us. And, it's something that, when I'm thinking about having a family in my future, that's something that I want to, have in my household.
That's really cool, man. Did it put a chip on your shoulder being the youngest, being the baby of the household, being the smallest one, growing up? Did it put a chip on your shoulder at all?
Not too much, because when you're young, you're just playing sports.
Yeah.
You're not thinking about necessarily college or NFL. You just want to go out there and play with your friends. But I think for me, kind of when I started getting recruited in high school and started going to camps, it created that chip because guys would kind of look at me and say, "Oh, you're only getting offers, or people only pay attention to you because of your brother's success."
Yeah.
So that kind of put that chip on my shoulder. Like, all right, let me show you why.
Yeah.
In that competitive nature that I have with my brothers, that created, definitely helped me with going through things like that.
When did you realize that it was real for you, right? Like you said, your brothers are talented. They're going on. When did you realize as Kendall yourself that, I'm really good at this football thing? And it's not just my brothers.
Yeah.
I'm good because I got this skill set.
Yeah. I knew I was pretty talented in high school. We had a ton of athletes come out of my high school. But in terms of the NFL, I would probably say after my freshman year of college, just being able to go out there, I think had a great freshman year. Had like 6 interceptions as a freshman. That offseason, I went and watched my brother get drafted in the first round.
Yeah.
So for me, it was just like, all right, I saw how he prepared for the game. I saw how he studied in the off seasons, how he went about just his off season and just training and like the sacrifices that he made to get himself to that level. And I was like, I got the blueprint. That's what I'm gonna do. So I think after my freshman year was when I was kind of just like I know I can have a career in the NFL.
That's awesome, man. And you choose to go to Virginia Tech. Your 3 older brothers went to Virginia Tech as well. Yeah. So I got to ask, was it even an option to go to Virginia Tech at this point, or was it just like, hey, bro, you're going to Virginia Tech, you're following the family legacy?
Nah, they honestly, and most people are surprised, but they didn't say anything to me.
Wow.
The only thing that I remember happening is my brother, when he was at Virginia Tech and I was getting recruited, he had got asked if he would take it personal if I went to somewhere else.
Yeah.
And the school that I was really close to going to was Clemson.
Yeah.
And I think somebody asked him, like, would you take it personal if he went to Clemson? And I think he was just like, yeah. He didn't tell me about the interview, but I had just saw it.
Yeah.
But it was, Virginia Tech was home. And but I didn't feel pressure. I think that was the only moment. And then I think on my official visit to Clemson, my mother was with me. And she's in Coach Sweeney's office just talking about Virginia Tech right in front of him. So, like, that kind of told me how bad she wanted me to go to Virginia Tech. But besides that, they kind of let me make the decision for myself because they knew that, like, I would be the one living it.
Yeah, and I heard this story. I don't know if this is true, and I ain't trying to snitch on you, but I heard that you actually picked up the phone to commit to Clemson.
Yep.
But as the phone started ringing, you hung up.
Yeah.
What was that feeling that you had? Because that's such a big decision to even pick up the phone and make the call, and then to just back out of it like that. What was going on?
I know I loved Clemson. It was a beautiful campus. I knew when I was in high school, we had a ton of athletes, ton of good talent that was going D1 every single year. So my thought process about Clemson was, I think at that time they had Sammy Watkins, Martavius Bryant, DeAndre Hopkins.
Had a squad.
I was like, I'm going to go against the best receivers year in and year out.
Yeah.
And so I think that was like my biggest thing. I don't know what exactly told me to hang up that phone. Only thing I can think of is God.
Yeah.
It's just, and in hindsight, I see why. But something told me to hang up that phone, and I think maybe about like a month or two later, I ended up committing to Virginia Tech.
Wow.
Yeah, so I don't know the feeling. Only thing I can say is probably just God.
Hey, man, God is good, man.
Yeah.
Clearly you made the right decision.
Yes,
so
sir.
Let's go to that freshman year at Virginia Tech, right? You get on campus, and you have 3 older brothers who have already made a name for themselves on this campus, have built their own legacy. Was there a shadow there for you, man? Was it kind of hard to get past the shadow that your brothers and the legacy that they had built already?
Not really, just because like me and my brothers, we were all football.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like we weren't big partiers, we weren't big anything. It was just only thing we knew how to do was work. That's kind of something that our father instilled in us, was to just always work, always grind, always do whatever you need to do to be successful. So even for me, when I came into Virginia Tech, it was just like, and even watching my brother Kyle, that's all he was doing. It wasn't out doing this, out doing that. It was just, hey, I'm here for football. And I think the best piece of advice that my oldest brother ever gave all of us was, he kind of told us, like, hey, like, there's a lot of people, when they go to college, they want college to be the best 4 years of their life.
Yeah.
And he was like, you leave college at 21 years old, you got the rest of your life ahead of you. He was like, I want y'all to have a mindset of, like, you want the best 4 years of your life to be after college. And, like, whatever you do in college, that's what's going to set you up for your future. Yeah. So, like, him being able to even have someone, like, give us that type of advice and set that mindset for us was big.
And, being a little brother, like, things are always different as you're growing up, right? Like, things are different. You probably communicate differently with your brothers in middle school, differently in high school. Yeah. But once you're in college and you really made it to that point that they have all made it to as well, did the conversation between you and your brothers change? Like, was it more about, like, we're more peers now and, like, getting that game? What was those conversations like with your brothers?
It was just more so it was definitely more conversations in terms of, like my oldest brother's a 13-year-old age gap.
Wow.
So, like, the more I kind of moved up in each level, it was more in-depth conversations we were able to have. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, now, compared to high school and college, now it's like we can really have in-depth conversations about football, how to break down film. Like, my brother played safety smart, so, like, just different things to look for and things like that. Even my brother Corey, just being able to talk to him, at this point, he was a NFL receiver, so being able to get his outlook from a receiver standpoint and things like that. And then, I mean, Kyle, I was just, whatever he did, I was doing. So I was right behind him on everything. I think my senior year of high school, Kyle was calling me to kind of watch tape with him from spring ball.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Just kind of showing me, teaching me little things like that. So it definitely got easier, started just more in-depth conversations that was definitely helpful for me and just impacted, how well I could see the game.
And clearly your parents, man, they mean a lot to you and your brothers. How did they manage having 4 successful kids playing sports in different areas, different places at different points in their career? Because it seems like your parents are very involved, right? They seem like they want to be at your guys' stuff. How did they handle that? And what was that like, seeing your parents go from place to place trying to support you guys?
I mean, when you're in it, you don't think too much of it. You're just kind of thinking like, hey, like, this is what we got to do. But I know for them, my father, starting with my father, his main thing was just like, y'all are going to college. I don't care what it's for. I don't care if it's academically. I don't care if it's for sports. But, like, you're going to college. And he just did his best to put us in and give us the opportunity to do that, get us around good coaching. And whether that means sometimes we would have to travel 30, 40 minutes away to go play a sport, to where we could have just traveled 5. But he was like, there's better coaches, better team here. So, like, we're going to make this sacrifice. And that's what they did. They sacrificed a lot for us. Yeah. Even my mom, I remember my mom just kind of working 9 to 5, get home. She calling us before we leave to practice, just saying like, hey, like, can y'all take the chicken out so that I can cook it later? And we forget and not
better
doing
not
it,
forget.
You know what I mean? But, like, she go work all day. We go to practice, come home, and, like, she has dinner ready for us and things like that. So it's a ton of sacrifices that they made, and just we're fortunate that they made those sacrifices, that they cared enough to kind of invest in us and invest in our future that young. And they definitely been a blessing.
That's so cool, man. And clearly their sacrifices paid off, man. You were the 4th Fuller to make it into the NFL, man. You got drafted here by Washington. Yep. And, I mean, you've stayed pretty close to home, right? You stayed close to the DMV. Yeah, it's not, Virginia isn't Baltimore, but DMV, it's pretty close together. What did it mean to you to get drafted by, like, not your hometown team, but a team that was very close to home?
It was, I think, honestly, because of my situation, kind of being protected early, having my injury, I think I was just kind of upset falling to the 3rd round. So once I got the call, at that point, I didn't care where it was going to be. And I would say probably around my 2nd year is when I really started, like, appreciating being able to be so close to home. Because I would tell people, I would, after games, instead of driving all the way back out here with FedEx, I would just drive home. I would stay with my parents. Stay with my parents after a game. I would tell my mom, like, hey, you don't even have to come. You can just make Sunday dinner. Yeah. And I would go out after the game, go home, get some dinner, stay the night, and then in the morning drive back out here. So, and just especially going to Virginia Tech, there's a ton of Hokies out here in this area.
So they love you out here.
Exactly. So I think the more time I spend out here, the more I was able to like really appreciate it.
And you mentioned being that moment where you got picked in the 3rd round. You know, those kind of moments can shape a person's whole outlook on life. Yeah. You said, you were expecting to go a lot higher, and you didn't because of the injury. What did that do for you? That 3rd round selection, man. How did that change your mindset, and how did that affect the rest of your career?
I mean, it just motivated me, honestly. And as a competitor, there's a lot of things that you probably shouldn't take personal, but you make it personal. And for me, that was something that I took personal because I was telling somebody the other day, like, when you feel like you did what you needed to and you put in the work to achieve a certain goal and you feel like you should have earned that and you didn't, it sticks with you. And that's something that's always going to stick with me. Yeah. One of my best friends, he made a comment to me the other day just kind of talking about some of the guys that were drafted before me. And it's something that and all of those guys earned it. But as a competitor, that's just something that motivates you and things like that. So it definitely motivated me, just put that fire in me. And, at that point, once no matter where you get drafted, once you're in, you're in. Yeah. But it definitely, it motivated me a lot.
And then, you're in the NFL. Mm-hmm. You have one of the best seasons of your young career, and then you get the call saying, hey, headed to Kansas City. Yeah. How did that affect you? I mean, you don't hear a lot of cornerbacks and stuff getting traded within the NFL at that level, right, mm-hmm. for like a franchise quarterback. How did that affect you? It
was tough. I think genuinely I was just as confused as anybody, and at that point you just go with the flow. Yeah. At the end of the day, I loved football, and like no matter, I think my mentality was when that happened was like no matter where I'm playing at, I get to play football. I get to play the game that I love. I get to honor and worship God with my play, no matter what city that's in. So like for me, it was just kind of playing football. The tough part is just you build relationships. The guys that we had on that team, we had a good group of guys, good bond and things like that. So that's always tough. But I mean, at the end of the day, I was young too, so you kind of just go with the flow. You still learning the NFL. People kind of ask me now when things happen. I'm just like, man, nothing surprises me in the NFL. Wow. You never know. And I think that happening to me early on kind of had that impact. But at the end of the day, I was fortunate, to go to another franchise, a good franchise, win a Super Bowl. So I was definitely grateful for the opportunity.
And God always has a plan, man. And clearly he had one for you because in that Super Bowl, you got the game-sealing interception. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if this is true, but I don't think any other Fuller can say that. Yeah. I think you're the only Fuller, the youngest, but the only Fuller that could say that. Is there a little pride there, man? Do you call your brothers and kind of tell your brothers, like, hey, man, I got me one?
Not yet.
Not yet. It's too early.
I think right now you're still working to get another one, but I think when I finish my career and, like, we start getting older and having those conversations, football talks, that'll definitely probably come up.
Yeah. Are you guys, who's the most competitive out of all the brothers? Since we're on the topic.
All of us.
All of you guys? Yeah. I heard you're the trash talker, though. I heard you talk the best trash.
I would say that, but granted, none of us are trash talkers. I don't think anybody will ever see me talking on the field, but my brothers are probably the only ones I talk trash to. So I probably am the biggest trash talk out of us four. Yeah,
and you guys do like I don't know if you guys do it anymore, but like a 50-yard race every summer where y'all stand on 50-yard line and then y'all race. I've even seen photos of this, man. How does that come about? And like, how cool is that though to have something like that with your fam? Yeah,
it used to be fun because I mean, we would just have talks about like who's faster, and everybody saying like I'm faster, like, and it's kind of like, bro, like you wouldn't beat me. And so we just started saying like, all right, like let's just race. Yeah. And at the time, Vinny was retired, but me, Corey, and Kyle, we were still all playing, so our schedules were all the same. Yeah. So we would just start going out, go back home, and we'll all just race. And it's been a while since the last time we raced, but genuinely, I think we stopped because the last time I won. You know what I mean?
Is that what? They said, no, we're not doing this no more.
I genuinely think that's why. Like, I had a conversation with somebody. The youngest sibling, you getting beat up.
Yep.
Growing up, they winning all the fights. But then as you start getting bigger, now it's like they don't want to fight. It's like, like, bro, like, you're being a kid.
Nah,
like,
we
nobody want
good.
to play around. So I think for them, it's kind of just like, man, like, no, we're not trying to race no more. Like, don't nobody want to race. Like, that's childish.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I think it was because, like, I won. They probably knew that, like, they weren't going to beat me anymore. So
you can hear the competitor in you as you even say that, man. How good did it feel? Was that your first time winning the race?
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
First time winning it.
That felt good, man. It did, huh?
Nah, that felt good.
When chest was out the rest of the holiday.
Thank you.
Well, man, like, back to football, man. So you make this, game-saving play, essentially, for the Chiefs, right? Seal the game up for them, win your Super Bowl, and then right after you decide to come back here. You decide to come back to Washington. I can't say that's something we see a lot, where a guy gets traded from a franchise and they say, I'm going to go back. What went into that decision?
I mean, genuinely, I think we had a lot of talent when I was here that I felt like we never seen the fruit of, like, all the talent that we had. Yeah. And I think the first thing I told somebody, I was like, I couldn't imagine a Super Bowl parade in D.C.
Wow.
I was just like, and like being able to experience it in Kansas City, which was like crazy as I don't know what. Yeah. It was amazing. I was just like, man, I couldn't imagine that in D.C. So just kind of wanting to see that, wanting to experience that, and then just being able to be home, being able to drive, be able to see my mom, be able to see my brother, my nephew, just all your family and friends that you have in this area. It means a lot to be able to, have people that friends, family, to be able to come out and support you and things like that. So I think those were the two biggest reasons.
So it's fair to say you feel like you had some unfinished business in Washington, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Man. And then now you're back, year 8. You're not even 30 yet. You are a very young 8-year veteran, but you also are in a secondary room with a lot of young players, extremely young players. How has it been turning into that savvy veteran leadership role that you've been able to wear, especially for these young guys now? Yeah,
it's been fun. I think, like, especially being in year 8 but only being 28, it's like I'm not at that point in my career to where, like, I can't play. You know what I mean? Like, to where, like, they can listen to me in the film room, but they can also watch me out on the field. And I think that's been, like, the biggest thing and the biggest help, even for me and for them. And I always been a guy and always try to be the type of leader of just doing things the right way. You know what I mean? Like, I'll definitely pull guys aside and have conversations. But for me, my biggest thing with my brothers was, like, it wasn't always what they said, but it's what they did. You know, they showed me how to be a professional. They showed me what it looked like to be a professional. They showed me what it looked like to invest in your body. They showed me what it looked like, just even in terms of little things of how off season should look. Yeah. So just all of those different things. And I think that's something that I've kind of just attributed from watching my brothers to being that for the young guys, just showing them, like, hey, like this is how you do things. This is the right way to do it. This is how you look, and this is how you be a professional. You know what I mean? And we have so many talented guys, so many guys that are young, and once you get to this level, there's so many guys that do so many different things well. And I always tell them, like, hey, take bits and pieces from everybody around you that you can learn and apply to your game. And so we got a good group, man. We got a good close group. So our biggest thing right now is just finishing the year off strong. We feel like we haven't done the things that we're capable of doing. But at the end of the day, you can't get those games back, can't get those plays back. All you can do is just go focus on, how we want to finish these last couple games.
Let me tell you, you're making an impact with the young guys, because the first interview I did, like, here, like, when I moved here, the first interview I did was with Emmanuel Forbes Jr., and he heralded your leadership and how much you meant to him. I'd love to hear in your words how it's been playing the big brother role for him and being there and watching him develop this first year.
It's been good. It's been fun because he's gonna have a heck of a career. Just his skills that he has, but it's been fun just being able to see him grow and watch him grow. I would tell people just certain things that would happen in the game. to where like it can be one little thing that you say to somebody and just like that confidence that he feels from us. You know what I mean? Especially as a corner, you're going to go through ups and downs in your career. And that's never going to change. And to see him kind of, you know, take all the criticism that he was getting, all the hate that he was getting, and still see him come to work, still see him competing. And I told him, I was like, dog, like, you're going to keep on working, put your head down, keep on working, keep on grinding, and it's going to show. Yeah. And, you know, I think he kind of took that well because he understand that all of us have been through the same thing. And he took that well. And even the couple games that he came back, he balled out. Yeah. And, you know, the more he gets healthy, the more he, you know, gets back to himself physically, I know that it's going to show up.
Well, Kendall, man, we appreciate your impact on the field. We appreciate your impact in the locker room. Now, one thing I do to always end the show is I have people look at that ISO camera right there and either say something about themselves or say something to the fans. But talking to you right now, man, and if you're comfortable, I got a feeling, man, I want you looking at ISO camera and talk to your parents, man. You know, you are hitting a big point in your life. You're about to be a husband. You know, you're a fiance now. Year 8, year 9, year 10, those things are on the cusp. Your parents are a big part of that, clearly, man. You look in that camera right there and just say whatever you feel in your spirit right now to your parents, man, whether it's thanking them or just a message to them.
Yeah. Mom, Dad, I just, you know, appreciate everything that you guys have did for, you know, me, Corey, Kyle, and Vinny, you know, for just caring, just loving us, and most importantly, just investing in our future, to take the time, make the sacrifices that you guys did, and you guys know those sacrifices that you made. We're just appreciative of that. It's been a blessing to have you guys to be able to call you mom and dad. And I just want both of you to know that I love you.
Well, man, Kendall, man, your parents did an amazing job, man. It's been a pleasure talking to you, man. I could keep talking to you, man, but we're going to let you go. You're a busy, busy man. Commanders family, this is the Next Man Up podcast. I'm Brian Colbert Jr., and I am with no other than Kendall Fuller. Brother, thank you so much for your time, man. I can't wait to see how y'all finish out the year. And I know you got a long career ahead of you, brother, so we're going to keep watching, man.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you, Kendall.
Appreciate it.
No doubt.